from Queen Elizabeth II to Charles III. Welcome to Mark and Pete. Here's a thought.
The Queen is dead. Let the church bells ring. A new sovereign head. Long live the King. The long reign of Queen Elizabeth II has come to an end. It was marked by her strong sense of duty and determination to dedicate her life to her throne and to her people. For many, she became the one constant reference point in a rapidly changing world. Many people will recognize her influence. In my opinion, she was woven into the fabric of everything. Clergyman Pete, I ask you, what is your enduring memory of Queen Elizabeth II?
Well, the thing about our Queen is that we are used to seeing her image everywhere on every coin and banknote, and seeing her on the TV screen waving or walking around among her people and being very approachable in that sense, in that we were always able to see her around. So in that sense, my enduring image is of that picture of her when she was young, very beautiful, and as she was older, sort of an approachable, friendly grandmother figure. But for me, as you can imagine, businessman Mark, as a clergyman, it was her Christian faith that really is the enduring memory that I have of her. And she wrote this there's a book called The Servant Queen, and she wrote the foreword for it, in which she said this: I have been and remain very grateful to you for your prayers and to God for his steadfast love, writing to all the readers and I guess by extension her subjects. And she, speaking of God, she goes on to say in that same foreword, I have indeed seen his faithfulness. And that thankfulness to God and her commitment to duty in the sight of God and relying on him to give her the strength to carry out her duties is something that is part, I guess, of the Western world, that you have a duty, you rely on God to help you fulfill it. It's part of how people live their lives, and it's lost or getting lost in today's world. So that's my enduring memory is of those Christmas speeches she would give, sitting in her living room with the TV cameras there, in which she would give a retrospective of the year and talk about hope for the future, but always point to Jesus Christ as an example and to God's Spirit as the means by which the change that was necessary would come, and the reason for which you can have hope. So that's my enduring memory. In one Christmas speech in 2012, she quoted the end of the carol In the Bleak Midwinter, which ends with, what can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. And then the carol gives the answer, she said, yet what can I give him? Give my heart. So according to give of ourselves in the same way that she did to duty and service of others. So that is my enduring memory. The thoughts from those speeches at Christmas and from her commitment to live out a life trusting in God for the hope and the strength that she needed.
Yes, and for many it will certainly be the same, but for others, of course, it will mean different things. As you've already highlighted, her influence, not just throughout the United Kingdom, but throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the world, is something that is going to be very difficult to come to terms with that change. But herein lies the opportunity, because, of course, we now have King Charles III. And in many ways, this is an opportunity to galvanize the union of the United Kingdom, to really reach out to the rest of the world and think about where Britain now plays. There are many changes, as you said, that the Queen Elizabeth's image is going to have to change everything from currency to stamps to pillar boxes and many other things like that. But we know that that typically would happen in transition. But really, it's now sort of turning to the future, which is what is really going to be Charles's opportunity. Where would now he have the opportunity to put his stamp on things? I think that he has a golden opportunity. We all know that the economy is bad, that there have been some challenges with some other nations. We're all aware of the world is in a difficult place. But ironically, and we talk about one of the things that is the learnings from Queen Elizabeth II, is the point of constant, the point of knowledge, the point of guidance. You mentioned about the faith. And I think that that's something, that, again, that Charles can not only offer to, obviously, the British people to bring back a more of a clearer identity, but there again is similarly the possibility for him to do that on an international level. We know there's going to be question marks over what is the future of the Commonwealth, but here's the thought. I actually think that many people will respect Charles for some of the things that he has already talked about. He, you might argue, was a pioneer very much in terms of environmental matters.
Sure, yeah.
Going back to history, look at this guy. This was a guy who highlighted, even after he became the Prince of Wales, talking about the concerns over perhaps non-renewable plastics, environmental concerns, which are affecting the Amazon rainforest, and many, many other causes that perhaps at the time he was criticized for. They're not criticizing him now. It's the same man, folks. This is somebody who is somebody who has some very, very important thoughts in a world that now needs to listen.
Yeah, he was really good, and he has a slightly stilted manner, an unusual manner of speech, and a stilted manner of body language. He had certain tics and behaviours, including funneling the ring on his finger, which has been much imitated. But those have been toned down over the years, but not his commitment to environmental issues, which have now come to the fore. So perhaps he's the man for the moment. But in his speech, his first address as king to the nation, he emphasized that he wouldn't be part of the charities and the concerns that he'd been highlighting in the same way going forward, but intimating that he's going to have to be neutral, much as his mother had been as queen. He was going to do much the same. But apart from that, he did also make one other interesting change, which people have been concerned about, and that was he referred to the Church of England as being at the heart of his own personal faith. He talked about himself having personal faith. And of course, the Christian faith emphasizes tolerance and acceptance of others. Of course, they're called then to know Christ and to be changed through knowing him. But to welcome everyone, that's a key part of the Christian faith.
Yeah.
And so without that, you lose what Britain, and by extension, Western liberal democracies are all about. You need Christianity, or at least Christian ideals and ways of operating at the heart of it, or it just simply doesn't work. That's where all liberal democracies come from originally, from Britain. That's where it all started, Britain, the Christian country. And so when he said that, I personally thought, this is a good sign. Not only is he saying he's going to be neutral, much as his mother was, he has made a commitment to be a supporter of the Church of England through his own personal faith. And I thought that was very promising. So if he keeps that and being neutral, but still being able to highlight the key issues that he was in the past, but in a less obvious manner, I think he could be a very popular figure, because that together, popular with the church and the traditionalists, and then popular with the Green movement going forward, he's in a very good position to be a very popular figure, and therefore a unifying figure for the country going forward.
I agree. I think it's a golden opportunity. I think he's a man of experience. He's already on many of the subjects which people are talking about today, and he can certainly influence. So I suppose what we really should do is sort of maybe have some close-out thoughts and invite certainly our audience on this matter.
Yeah, so we really would like to hear from you. Do give us your thoughts and any recollections you have of the Queen you'd like to share, and also what are your hopes for King Charles going forward. King Charles himself, right at the end of his first speech, talked about his mother, and as she had died, he said, "May flights of angels sing thee to thy rest." And in using that quotation, God being the source of hope, I would pray that angels would protect Charles going forward, both from distraction and also from personal attack, and that he would have a long and successful reign. In fact, what I would say is, God save the King.